The HOA president called the cops on me for cleaning my own solar panels. Big mistake. She had no idea I was a circuit court judge who could dismantle her entire corrupt operation with a single ruling. It was just past 6 in the morning on a Saturday when I was on my ladder with a squeegee in hand, cleaning the panels on my roof. The neighborhood was quiet, the kind of calm that makes you forget how quickly it can break. Then the sirens came. Police cars rolled into my driveway, tires crunching over gravel like something being crushed under pressure. I climbed down slowly, still wiping cleaning solution from my hands, and watched 2 officers step out with that familiar posture, hands near their belts, already assuming a problem existed. Behind them stood HOA President Brenda Kessler, leaning against her white BMW like she owned the entire street. Arms crossed, chin lifted, wearing a look of complete satisfaction, like she had finally won something. The morning dew made everything around her glow except her expression, which was sharp and cold with pride. What she didn't know was that I had already spent the last 3 months quietly building a case against her financial misconduct, and this little stunt with the police had just given me everything I needed. If someone weaponizes law enforcement against you on your own property, what would you do? Think about that, because I was about to change everything. Let me go back. My name is Marcus Thornfield. 6 months earlier, I was living what most people would call a successful life. I had served over 2 decades as a circuit court judge, handling civil rights and property disputes. Cases that either restored your faith in justice or destroyed it completely. But life doesn't stay stable forever. 2 years ago, my wife Sarah was diagnosed with breast cancer. Suddenly, courtrooms and legal arguments didn't matter as much as hospital rooms, chemo sessions, and holding her hand through uncertainty. The smell of antiseptic became part of daily life. When she recovered, stronger than anyone expected, we made a decision: early retirement, a fresh start, a quiet suburb called Willowbrook Estates. At first, it felt perfect. Tree-lined streets, calm neighbors, the kind of place where nothing dramatic ever happens. I built a wooden ramp for Sarah's wheelchair, solid oak, carefully measured, fully ADA compliant. It cost me thousands, but seeing her roll up it every evening made it worth every dollar. Then I installed solar panels, 36 of them. Clean energy, lower bills, proper permits, license installation, everything by the book. That's when I met Brenda Kessler. She was the kind of HOA president who treated rules like weapons, the kind of person who measured grass with a ruler and treated bylaws like sacred scripture. She'd been running the HOA for years, patrolling the neighborhood in her white BMW like it was a security vehicle. The first violation notice came within hours. Aesthetic violation, $150 fine. Then the ramp got flagged. Another $150. Unapproved modification. I tried to talk to her directly. I found her measuring a neighbor's mailbox with a tape measure like it was a crime scene. Mrs. Chen's mailbox was apparently 3 inches too tall. This community has standards, Brenda said without looking up. We can't have people doing whatever they want. The ramp is ADA compliant, I told her calmly. So are the solar panels. She smiled like I had insulted her personally. What I didn't know yet was that she wasn't actually following any real committee process. The architectural committee she kept referring to hadn't met in years. She was making decisions alone, targeting whoever didn't fit her idea of perfect suburbia, selective enforcement, quiet discrimination, hidden financial control. That's all it was. That night, Sarah and I sat outside on the ramp while the solar panels hummed above us. Rex, our German shepherd, lay nearby like a guard dog. For a moment, life still felt peaceful. But Brenda didn't stop. A few days later, another notice arrived. Then another. Then an emergency HOA meeting notice with legal language designed to intimidate. When I walked into that meeting, the room was already stacked in her favor. Supporters, allies, people who never questioned her authority. She presented my solar panels like evidence of crime, my ramp like a threat to property values. Every argument wrapped in polished phrases about community standards. But I had spent years in courtrooms. I knew exactly how to listen when people start digging their own holes. When I asked for architectural committee meeting minutes, the room changed. Silence fell in a way that told me everything. because there weren't any. And once I started asking the right questions, the cracks appeared fast. Selective approvals, unrecorded decisions, personal enforcement disguised as governance. That night, I left with something better than victory. I left with evidence, audio recordings, documents, patterns. And Brenda had no idea she had just triggered the beginning of her downfall. A few days later, a law firm letter arrived demanding removal of my ramp and solar panels. It was aggressive, expensive-looking, and completely overconfident. I laughed when I read it, because I recognized the name behind it. A real estate-focused firm trying to act like litigators. The kind of mistake people make when they underestimate who they're dealing with. Brenda didn't stop there. She escalated. Flyers, online posts, subtle neighborhood campaigns painting me and others as problems. Always indirect, always deniable. But the message was clear. Meanwhile, I kept digging. Public records told a different story. Missing HOA filings, unpaid vendors, inflated landscaping budgets, money flowing in suspicious patterns. Then one detail stood out. Landscaping payments going to a company connected to Brenda's boyfriend, a man with no real qualifications in landscaping at all. That was the moment everything clicked. This wasn't just petty HOA control. It was financial abuse. Embezzlement dressed up as community maintenance. At the same time, Mrs. Chin quietly became one of my strongest allies. A retired paralegal, meticulous, organized, and relentless when it came to documentation. She knew exactly what to look for in financial records. Together, we built a paper trail that got thicker every day. And Brenda, sensing resistance, escalated again. This time she involved the city, filing complaints about my solar installation. An inspector eventually came out. He checked everything. Permits, wiring, safety compliance. Then he laughed. "This is one of the cleanest installations I've seen," he said. "Whoever complained doesn't know what they're talking about." That was all I needed. She wasn't enforcing rules. She was targeting people. So I filed a formal complaint with the state HOA Regulatory Board. And I wasn't alone anymore. Other residents started stepping forward. People she had also targeted, fined, or intimidated. Mrs. Chun had records. Thompson had connections. Emma, my daughter, had digital skills that turned scattered evidence into organized proof. And then Brenda made her biggest mistake yet. She tried to have me arrested for trespassing, based on the claim that my roof access crossed a tiny strip of HOA land while cleaning my own panels. So I let it happen. I told the sheriff's office to proceed, because I wanted it documented. When deputies arrived to arrest me, I greeted them calmly with coffee in hand. No resistance. No drama. And when we reached the station, everything changed. Because someone recognized my name. I wasn't just a homeowner. I was a former judge. The situation collapsed instantly under its own absurdity. Meanwhile, Brenda celebrated, thinking she had won. But behind the scenes, the investigation into her was already expanding. Financial fraud, discrimination complaints, false reports, and misuse of HOA funds. Then everything accelerated. Emma uncovered online evidence of discriminatory posts. Financial records tied Brenda's company to HOA payments. The pattern was undeniable. By the time we were ready, the entire structure she built was collapsing inward. We prepared everything carefully. Legal filings, evidence bundles, witness statements, and procedural documentation. And then came the final meeting. The community center was packed. Cameras were rolling. Residents filled every seat and stood along the walls. Brenda walked in like someone already losing control of the narrative. But I was ready. When I stood up and revealed the financial trail, the courtroom silence I knew so well returned. Every document I presented cut deeper than the last. Embezzlement, selective enforcement, discrimination, misuse of funds. Then I said it clearly. I wasn't just a retired homeowner. I was a circuit court judge. The reaction was immediate. The room shifted. The balance changed. Everything Brenda had built started collapsing in real time. The prosecutor confirmed investigations were already underway. And just like that, her authority disappeared. In the days that followed, everything unraveled quickly. HOA leadership removed. Legal charges filed, financial audits launched, contract exposed. The neighborhood that had once been ruled by fear slowly transformed. Solar panels stayed, the ramp stayed, the fines disappeared. And what replaced all of it was something Brenda never understood: community. Sarah recovered her peace. Emma turned experience into advocacy. Neighbors who once stayed silent started speaking again. Even the atmosphere of the street changed. No more fear of letters. No more quiet intimidation. Just normal life again. And as for Brenda, her entire system collapsed under the weight of the evidence she created herself. In the end, it was a revenge that destroyed her. It was her own overreach. She just didn't realize she had been building the case against herself the entire time.